Requesting everyone to please be seated. We are starting the session. Extending a warm welcome to our distinguished attendees and honored dignitaries for the third consecutive session on day 2 of Global Professional Accountants Convention organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. The continuity of our discussions underscores the commitment to provide you with a comprehensive understanding of crucial topics shaping the realm of global accountancy. Next session, Global Expansion. Strategies for serving clients across continents promises to be an insightful exploration into the multifaceted challenges and opportunities that come with international client service. Our esteemed panel, consisting of seasoned professionals, will address legal, tax, and regulatory considerations that professionals must navigate when operating on the global stage. With this, may I kindly request respected CA Vishal Doshi, CCM ICAI, honored keynote speaker CA Nitinkumar Parekh, esteemed moderator CA John George, and distinguished panelist Mr. Arun Mehra and CA Anjani Ladia to graciously grace the stage. I'm delighted to introduce our dignitaries on the dais. CA Vishal Doshi is a Central Council member of ICAI for the term 22-25. He, being a distinguished professional, serves as the chairman of the Board of Studies. Our keynote speaker of the session, CA Nitinkumar Parekh, Chief Financial Officer, Zydus Lifesciences Limited. His rich experience brings forth valuable insights into financial strategies for global expansion. Moderator of the session, CA John George, Chairman of UAE Chapter ICAI. With his adept leadership, we anticipate a nuanced discussion on the international business. Our eminent panelist, Mr. Arun Mehra, he is the Chief Executive Officer of Samera Global UK. His expertise provides a first-hand perspective on global business dynamics. C. Anjani Ladia, Chairperson, Luxembourg Chapter of ICAI, bringing a wealth of international experience. Her insights will be invaluable in understanding the regulatory landscapes. With sincere regard and eagerness, I kindly request CA Vishal Doshi to deliver the opening remarks and set the stage for the upcoming session.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is indeed a pleasure for me to welcome all of you to this session on global expansions, strategies for serving clients across continents. And we have with us eminent personalities on the dais. We have CA Nitinkumar Parekh, who is the CFO of Zydus Lifesciences, who would initially share his thoughts and make a presentation. And thereafter, we would be having a panel discussion, which would be moderated by CA John George. And the panelists, eminent panelists are Mr. Arun Mehra ji and CA Anjani Ladia. So we would, in the panel discussion, we would have a perspective from the UAE, the UK, and definitely Luxembourg. But why this session in this GloPack? As chartered accountants, be it in industry or whether we are in practice, we are often nowadays, since at least the last decade, since India has opened up, we find a lot of queries coming to us about, we talk of globalization. So it's not just about remittances coming in India, but also outward remittances where our clients, they feel that there is a lot of scope for expansion to develop their setup, be it in the manufacturing sector or in the service sector outside India. And hence they ask us questions about what is the best way to make investments in outside India, in any country outside India, which is the way, which is the model, which is the entity structure. And there are a lot of related issues on the legal, the regulatory, the cultural, the HR, client relationship, risk, and definitely taxation would always be there. Taxation in India as well as taxation outside. And therefore, we thought it fit to have this session where we would have not only the interaction with Nitin ji, but also a panel discussion on giving various aspects. And as everybody knows, Nitin bhai, coming from Zydus, has tons of experience about transacting across the border. And once again, I welcome all of you to this session and wish you a very happy learning. Thank you.
Expressing our sincere gratitude for your insightful address, I kindly request CA Nitinkumar Parekh to deliver his keynote address and enrich our gathering.
Good afternoon. First of all, I thank Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, President Aniket Tanati, and all the office bearers for giving me this opportunity to speak at this very prestigious event. Chartered accountants are globally demanded. So if everybody is talking about going global, why not CAs? And there are ample opportunities around, as I would be narrating in my presentation. I would broadly cover these aspects. CA, a global passport with only visa requirements. Global expansion, the opportunities galore in different countries. The areas in which the opportunities are there. Strategies for serving clients across the continents. Legal, tax, and regulatory requirements. Knowledge, skills, and attitude required for global expansion, and end with some lighter sides. First, talking about global passport with visa requirement. Why I say global passport is that chartered accountancy as a qualification is a very well respected across the globe. Institute of Chartered Accountants of India stands for the solid foundation of domain expertise and has an international reputation. Indian chartered accountants are quite versatile in diverse areas of expertise. Our CA course has excellent subjects, equipping us with expert knowledge of different areas, whether it's accounting, audit, costing, tax, information system, onwards, governance, company law, many things. CA stands for solid expertise. Our rich experience of working with organizations of different size and nature of the business makes us a solid force to reckon with. India has a diversity. We have large groups, Tatas, Birlas, Reliance, Adanis, and we have burgeoning small scale SME sector. We have manufacturing sector, we have services, we have banking, we have pharma, petrochemical, steel, cement, paper, and we have Indian and multinational companies working in the country. So we have rich experience of handling diverse assignments. We have both rapid mental computational skills and deep understanding of use of technology. And also we are amenable to different cultures and are ready to learn different languages and customs. We are cost conscious, but we are value drivers. We are accountants, we are chartered. In a sense, we are premium class, but we are here to deliver services like economy fare. Thus, we have global passport and only need visa, like we need CPA in US. Where are the opportunities? Well, the opportunities are everywhere. So many Indian chartered accountants you will find working across the globe, both in jobs as well as in practice. And Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has signed mutual recognition agreements and also entered into MOUs with many countries. 48 overseas chapters, 33 rep offices, making presence in 81 global cities in 47 countries. And about 13,000, these are dated numbers, obviously numbers are more as of now. The idea is to say how many people are already working abroad, both in terms of jobs as well as in terms of practice with certificate of practice. Some of the prominent countries or regions where the opportunities are in plenty include Middle East. For example, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Kuwait. We have Mr. George from Abu Dhabi chapter right now. Presence in US and Canada for Indian chartered accountants are also there. Southeast Africa, Asia, like Singapore, Hong Kong. Africa, like South Africa, Kenya, Uganda, and Europe, UK, Ireland, Netherlands. Everywhere you will find chartered accountants. We have Arun Mehra from UK and Anjani Ladia from Luxembourg, who are going to take you in terms of nuances of these countries. And many of these countries have distinct advantage of English language also, which works well for we in India, like in USA, Canada, UK, South Africa, and UAE. Which are the areas of opportunities? In fact, it's like A to Z, but starting with accounting, audit, like statutory audit, internal audit, forensic audit. In Zydus, we have experience where our internal auditor goes to our overseas subsidiaries, whether in USA, Mexico, South Africa, Philippines, Brazil, Spain, France. From India, we send our internal auditors to do internal audit for overseas entities. So this is one area which some of you, if you have not tapped, can tap this. Tax, obviously, both local, direct, indirect tax in different countries, as well as international taxation via transfer pricing, withholding tax, base erosion, profit shifting. Company law matters, establishing a business unit in overseas entity, country, advising clients in terms of the constitution, other aspects, entry structure, what works, what doesn't work, what are the various aspects related to that in terms of taking the decision on entity structure. Corporate finance matters like investment banking, M&A transactions, financial and tax due diligence in M&A deals, valuation of targets, whether assets, companies, brands. Global shareholding structure. Global shareholding structure is not only related to Companies Act or taxation. There are a variety of other aspects involved. So in 2016, when in Zydus, we moved our global shareholding structure from Ireland to Dubai, there were plenty of different considerations, and that was done by Indian chartered accountancy firm coordinating with various overseas chartered accountants and various indirect tax people. Also handling the company law matters, IP related matters, foreign exchange matters. For example, how is the currency devaluation? What are different types of income and what are different of taxes? What are the rules and regulations related to repatriation of capital and dividend or profits? All these things are very important in structuring such decisions. Private equity, venture capital, fintech startups are also very emerging important areas. And you have ERP implementation. Like when we implemented S/4HANA in our US subsidiary, we had FICO expert, subject matter expert. He's a chartered accountant. So chartered accountants work abroad on different kind of assignments, digital transformation, business strategy aspects, and BPO, KPO work in India for overseas clients. How would you succeed? So I'll talk about three things: strategies for serving clients across the continents, legal, tax, and regulatory aspects, and knowledge, skills, and attitude required. First, strategies. I think this is the core of this presentation. And I call it 7 P's of working across the continents. First P is a place. Decide which countries you want to work for. You want to work for only English-speaking countries, or you are ready for other languages also. Dubai has, for example, about 5,000 chartered accountants in jobs and practice. And in Dubai firms also, many Indian chartered accountants are partners. With certain conditions, Indian CAs can practice in UAE. What is your priority? Where you want to play? Like which industries? Do you have some industry domain expertise? For example, if you have clients in India where you worked on oil and gas is very good industry for UAE. IT in USA, banking in Singapore, Hong Kong. So your specialization somewhere will help you deciding where to play. Which areas? Again, you want to work on tax, audit, management consultancy, costing, IT, digital. For example, chartered accountants, and many chartered accountants in India, including big four firms, had a rich experience of implementing GST. They can utilize these skills for implementation of VAT in various other Gulf countries. In terms of size, you want to play with large conglomerates and large groups, or you want to work with SME. These are important choices to be made. Not these choices are permanent, but at initial entry stage, the choices definitely matter. Partnership, like how do you want to play? You want to establish your own firm? You need to then get a local qualification like CPA in USA. Or you enter into partnership with local partners there. A partnership with local partners, you also need to decide the areas of expertise, experience of working with different industries, and also certain MNCs. In some countries, local partners are must, like in Bahrain, Australia, New Zealand, and many other countries, local partners are required for partnership. Promotion. You need to participate in various international conferences. You need to make the paper presentations, participate in panel discussions, write articles in international magazines. This is the way to establish your visibility. Performance. Ultimately, that is what actually counts. Excellence is must. Results count and not the efforts or intention. And in terms of pricing, I talk about economy fair. How would you like to price your services? You would like to go for country pricing, or you would give cost competitive entry pricing? And patience. Rome wasn't built in a day. This path is very challenging, but it's rewarding. Like quoting Nida Fazli, सफर में धूप तो होगी, निकल सको तो निकल, चल पड़ो. सभी ये भीड़ में तुम भी निकल सको तो चलो. कहीं भी जाओ, प्रॉब्लम हो गए, opportunities always follow. Legal, tax, and regulatory requirements. Understand immigration, visa requirements for the country. This situation is very dynamic. For example, Indian CAs these days are not getting visa in South Africa. And we have been experiencing this problem for last 12 months. So you need to understand the requirement of visa. Understand legal requirements for operating in respective countries, including need of taking local recognized degree, license for audit or certification work. Understand areas of practice without the need of taking local degree. For example, investment banking work, you don't need a local degree there. Understand local tax and international tax requirement, DTDBL, withholding tax requirements, and find out the requirements regarding constitution of firm, number of partners allowed, governance requirements, approval of name of the firm, filing of returns, forms, and periodicity. 3 things required to succeed: knowledge, skills, and attitude. Now, talk of knowledge, you need to have domain knowledge, like audit, tax, investment banking. I would always suggest to add in new qualifications like CFA for equity research or portfolio analysis, CISA, DISA for IT audit. These are very important in terms of strength areas. You need to have local knowledge of local language. For example, in Brazil, you need to know Portuguese. In Mexico, you need Spanish language. Either you go for the partner, but it will certainly make sense to acquire some of these foreign languages. US GAAP, for example, revenue recognition, urban auxiliary, thin capitalization rules, you need to understand these domain areas. And knowledge of local industries, who are the prominent promoter families or business groups, and what are the growth opportunities for chartered accountants. Knowledge of pricing of different products, how a particular assignment is priced. For example, CA in USA normally charges 3 to 4 times as we find charges in India. And continuous learning is a must. Skills, communication skills very important. And as you know, in US and UK, even the assets are also different compared to what in India we are experienced. Marketing skills to get the clients. And generally, chartered accountants are not very good in terms of marketing themselves. Learn from Big Four firms, prepare a nice, colorful, impactful presentation of your firm, send in advance of your meeting. And also need good liaison and interpersonal skill to get work done in a different country. Building reputation and trust are very important for the dependability, reliability, and continuity of business. In terms of attitude, ability, and willingness to explore different countries, coming out of your comfort zone, adaptability to different language, culture, way of working business, customs, punctuality in face-to-face. Indian standard time will not work. You have to be very punctual and give importance to time, commitment to meet the deadlines, and resilience and determination to succeed. The last, I would say, CA is your gateway to the world. Indian CAs are in high demand. Hunger for progress, ability to work across boundaries, and acceptance of different, diverse culture, language, and accounting principles can bring a glittering and lasting success. Stick to your commitment, keep your patience alive, and have an eye on your continuous drive for excellence, and success will be the natural outcome. This is on a lighter side. The globalization means when your email account is full with spam from countries you have never heard of. There's another one. You are looking for an international expert. I'm your man. My computer is from China. The desk is from Romania, and my clothes are made in Bangladesh. And this is the last one. We are an international company. You got creditors in more than 200 different countries. Thank you.
Expressing our heartfelt appreciation for the enlightening insights shared during your address, sir. Requesting presentation of a memento by worthy hands of CA Rajkumar Adukia, CCM ICAI, to a keynote speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
We extend a gracious invitation to our esteemed moderator, CA John George, to take the charge of the session. Floor is yours now.
Thank you very much. A warm welcome to all gathered here to attend this panel discussion on global practice expansion, strategies for clients, serving clients abroad. I thank for this opportunity. I'm really honored to act as a moderator for this great event. Thanks to the President, ICAI President, CA Anjani Ladia, and Vice President Nitinkumar Parekh for this opportunity. Our train starting a little late because we are almost 5:45. We'll try to reach the destination as soon as possible. We will consign our questions, but I know you have to go. Maybe your car is waiting, your bus is waiting, your family is waiting to go for a shopping. But this panel discussion is so important that if you attend it and you are a successful entrepreneur to expand your business, probably you can go for a bit bigger shopping. So before you expand your business practice abroad for clients, for serving clients abroad, you should know what is the landscape thereof, tax implication, legal intricacies, regulatory framework. You should understand what is the market about. You should be able to understand the technical concepts, what's the requirement of that particular country. Apart from your technical knowledge, you should have a good skill set of understanding the culture, understanding the people there, understanding the country. So I'm there in this country for UAE. I'm the chairman of ICAI Abu Dhabi chapter for 20 years. Before reaching UAE, my mindset was different. And when you interact with the international community, it changed. And you are going to interact with different nationalities. You have not seen such nationality here at Togudar, but in UAE or Abu Dhabi or Dubai, you can find different nationalities. So you need to make yourself polished to deal with those nationalities. Probably the attitude should change from what we deal with here. We'll go into details. Before that, we have experts here. Mr. Arun Mehra is from UK, and he'll be covering in general as well as UK perspective and US perspective. We have a very good experience in that side. And we also have Anjani, he's from Luxembourg. So he'll be covering Europe side. I'll also a little bit add from the Middle East version. We have few friends from Middle East here, from different chapters, from Kuwait, from Bahrain, from Qatar, from Saudi. So you can also interact with those chapter leaders here who are available here. They are here for even for tomorrow. So you talk to them, and I've seen chartered accountants coming to UAE for exploring the market. And this is a good way of starting your practice there to understand the things before. Coming to UAE is very easy. To get a visa is nowadays is very easy to come. And the culture is almost similar with India. And you will find Indians there. And in UAE, we have more than around 10,000 chartered accountants in entire UAE. So you will not feel alone there because you will feel like Indian community there. You can get knowledge. You can talk to them. You can attend the chapter events of Abu Dhabi or Dubai. So you'll get knowledge of the laws there, the tax implication there. Once the UAE was a tax-free country, there is no corporate tax, there is no GST. But from 2018, there is some changes has come, so which will be discussed during the course of the discussion. So before, what is the first step to expand your business to serve your client overseas? First, you should aware of it. As a chartered accountant, we are capable. Being there as a chartered accountant, our qualification has a good value. And we are capable to cater the needs of the market. And once, so there is a opportunity there, and there is a complexities. You have seen the grass is greener on the other side. It is true, look at the opportunity side, but look at the other side, the barren land where there's a desert, there is a complexities. So you should understand the green side as for the barren side of it. So first we have to, being a chartered accountant, expanding your practice for your clients, there are two aspects to it. One, the client is expanding, you need to expand with them. You have to give your practice to that country where the client is going. You need to understand there. As well as the client is coming here is like an outsourcing. So let me ask the first question to Mr. Arun. What are the key considerations for businesses when selecting a market entry strategy for global expansion?
Thank you, John. Good evening, everybody. My name is Arun, and I'm from the UK. And a huge thank you to for the invite to be talking here today. So, for market entry strategies, to look at this in a way that's going to help you get into, say, the UK market, I think it was highlighted by the last speaker, Nitinkumar, that accountants have been trained to be good accountants, but they haven't been trained to necessarily be good marketers. And that's a really important thing here. If you're going to get into a marketplace and you're going to enter a marketplace, you need to be have that presence, okay? So you have to support your local clients here, say in India, who wants to get into the Indian market, but then you have to present yourself to, say, an entity that you may be acquiring over there, to say that you can help them. Similarly, it may be a company coming from the UK who wants to outsource their business to, say, your business here. They need to understand, they need to be aware of you, they need to see you. And it's all well and good being able to, the lighter thing that Nitinkumar said, sending emails out to people and come and join us. That's not going to work. Ultimately, accountants are trusted advisors, and therefore that trust has to come from building those relationships with people. So market entry strategy has to be being present in that country or have some presence in that country. And therefore people feel confidence because you're there, they can then trust, they can then talk, and then they can say, you know what, these guys understand what I'm trying to do. So in summary, have that presence in terms of marketing yourself out there. And then secondly, that trust, which ultimately comes from building relationships with people in those markets.
Anjani, can you please add to this on the considerations, what the company should take care of?
Definitely. Thank you once again for giving us opportunity to showcase Luxembourg. You know, before I answer, I do want to ask a question to an audience. Has anybody heard about Luxembourg before? how many have been to Luxembourg for? Right. So there is hardly, I could see 3 or 4 hands who have been to Luxembourg, but people know about Luxembourg, what it has to offer. So we do invite most of you to come and explore Luxembourg as a gateway to Europe for the opportunities, what we can offer there. Just to also give a perspective, I was the very few Indian chartered accountants when I landed up in Europe and basically in Luxembourg. I was the only Indian chartered accountant 19 years ago when I landed up in Luxembourg. And now I am also a Luxembourg chartered accountant as well. So to answer a question of John, that you do have to come and take the local qualification to enter the European market. Like Europe is made up of 27 member states, and every member state has its own local qualification requirement. It is not a reciprocal, it is local. We are talking about globalization, but Europe is still considered as a local member state of an EU. So if somebody wants to explore their opportunities in Europe, they have to choose one country of their choice. I don't say it's Luxembourg, but it could be France, it could be Germany, it could be Belgium, Netherlands. You talk any European countries, but you have to do the local qualification of that country to enter and give your services to the clients of Europe itself, because once you are a member of a accounting body of that particular member state of a particular country, the passporting rights open up for across the whole EU. Means once you are a chartered accountant of one country, you can practice in any of the sorry, I would caveat, not practice, but you can provide services to any of your clients across the whole Europe. So that's where I would say is what we offer is globalization, but localization is very important to pursue from the European perspective. And that's what I did when I entered in Luxembourg. I became a local Luxembourg chartered accountant to provide services to our clients there.
Yeah, if one of question I just asked to Arun is basically, what are strategies for an outsourcing business? What strategy we should consider while expanding your business from other countries based here as outsourcing?
Sure, John. So I run an outsourcing firm here in India, and we've been established a while now. And what we've found is that to be successful in outsourcing is, again, as Anjani mentioned, is to have that local presence in that country. Okay, so it's so important that people see the color of your eyes, they understand you. It's very difficult to build trust if you're not there in that country. But at the same time, you have to present an offering which is strongly communicated, because what I see sometimes is that there's a lack of communication that happens in outsourcing. I've used outsourcing partners before, other companies here in India, and the communication wasn't strong. So I think for anyone who wants to offer outsourcing to say the UK, Luxembourg, or US, or anywhere, is that you have to really build that communication strategy and really present yourself in a way that people think, you know what, these guys, I can trust them with my outsourced work. And the problems arise when that communication isn't there. Problems arise, trust then goes, and therefore the relationship breaks down. And this is what the key word, and I mentioned it earlier, it's that relationship. Anyone who's going to give you any business for outsourcing wants that trusted relationship. Now, I was working with another firm. I know another company that was using another outsourcing firm recently. And I spoke to the company, and they said they were going to move from that company because the relationship had broken down. All they saw were fees going up here in India, and there was no explanation and there was no relationship. And so the guy just said, you know what, I have no relationship with these people. I'm not going to stay with them. I want to come to you guys. And that's the bottom line. If you build that relationship, that trust comes, and you build that friendship, and that friendship is then there for the long term. And that's a really, really important thing. If you're thinking of outsourcing, getting into the outsourcing game, it's a long-term game. Now, what I would also suggest is that you need to have presence here. Obviously, you'll have your team here in India, okay, who can do the processing, the back office, all the kind of nitty-gritty important work. But you also need the people who manage those relationships in India, in the UK or America or wherever. Now, you, of course, if you're an owner or a CA firm owner, you can travel back and forth, but that's exhausting. At some point, you then need to think, do I need to have in-country people? And those in-country people, then you have to hire, and you might then have to have an entity, a legal entity, such as a limited company in that country. And then you have to then abide by local labor laws, employment laws. So then there's things that have to happen. Now, it's all very feasible. It's all very doable, okay? For everyone in this room, you can all do it, okay? There are certain legislations and things you need to understand, but it's nothing too complicated. But I would urge you to try to do it if you want to do it, but do it step by step. Get that first client, understand how you got that first client. And it goes back to, as I said right at the beginning, how you present yourself, how you market yourself, how do people perceive you. And the danger, and I've seen where people go wrong, is where people think they can market themselves by being the cheapest, okay? And I see this quite evidently here in India, that people want to price themselves low to get the business, okay? People in the UK or the US or Europe aren't interested in having the cheapest. They certainly aren't. If it's cheap, it's perceived to be not good quality, usually, okay? So it's important to think, you know what, let me price right so I can deliver a good quality. So if you price yourself effectively, price it so you make a decent profit, you can employ good people here to support you, then, and you deliver a good quality, people will be satisfied and they'll keep coming back to you. But otherwise, if you price yourself too low, you'll have that problem, and they'll say, you know what, their service wasn't good, I'm going to go and move to somewhere else. So very important point.
See, as I mentioned earlier, we are interconnected world, and because of that, the complexities have increased. There is the laws start coming up. In UAE, we are free up to 2018, where there was no taxation. From 2018, we had the GST there. It's called value-added tax. And 2023, they have incorporated this corporate tax. And in between, there are a few laws being implemented, like ESR law, that is and the anti-money laundering and UBO. And there is so many laws being implemented because of the complexities, because of the business coming to expanding to different countries. So the most important thing is that to understand the laws there, and to understand the laws, it is more important that you can advise your client that how to follow the laws, what are the laws to be considered for their businesses. So let me ask this question to Arun. What are some of the common regulatory challenges that businesses face when expanding internationally? How can be mitigated?
Sure. Okay. So wherever you go in the world, you'll probably have to set up your own limited company. And to form a company, say in the UK, it's a straightforward process, okay? You can have international directors, and your shareholders can be fully international as well. It could be a subsidiary of your Indian company, potentially, I believe. So a company formation, so that's easy. And having been through the process of setting up a company here in India, which can take a long time, in the UK, a company can be formed in minutes. Okay, so it's all online and it's very easy to do that. Obviously, you might have shareholder agreements that might make things more complicated, but it's all very doable. Then you need to think about if you're going to have employ staff, which I imagine you will do, you then have to comply with employment law. And employment law is very, very tough in the UK. You get that wrong, you're in trouble, okay? And you might start off with a real hunger, but when you're suddenly in court dealing with employment issues, you've got a massive headache, and the idea of you expanding overseas can be thwarted very, very quickly. So make sure, I would strongly suggest you engage the services of a good employment lawyer, because that would always help you from day one.
Anjani, please add on to.
So I will talk about Luxembourg now, so I would say, as Arun mentioned, and John, you mentioned about the local laws and things. If you take the qualification, you have learned those laws, you have learned the ways of working, you have learned and the local practices, you have then networked with the local people, the local client, the presence, So I would say is Europe, again, being a gateway, there is a difference of cultural values. There is a difference of ways of working. So you have to be coming up and being present there for yourself to understand how it is performed there. I would suggest, and there is a word called boomerang, the one piece of advice to us, our fellow chartered accountants, is go there, do the work, and then bring it back to your own country. But if you are just sitting here and then saying that the work will flow for us, might not work as such. So, you have to go and be part of it. And it could be the opportunity that you were looking for, but nothing is coming as easy as what Mr. Nitinkumar Parekh in his previous said, that you have to go for your excellence to be done. And once it is taken care of, then there is no, sky is the limit for the opportunities to take it over.
Thank you. As far as UAE is concerned, there are a few laws specific to the Middle East. For example, Sharia law, and for example, Islamic financing. So you should be aware of when you're advising a client about a financing matter. So this is all very important. And again, in UAE, we have different authorities to incorporate your companies there. For example, ADGM or DIFC, they are self-regulated, and they have different model of your incorporation. For example, you can advise clients for a tax saving purpose or a tax planning purpose. You have a different model of your incorporation. For a trust, for example, foundations, you can do that in UAE or Abu Dhabi for your tax planning. So there are various laws which we cannot go in details, which you can meet the speakers after this to understand, and go to the websites of, keep learning various laws, which will educate you and understand more about the laws and all. So next, we have something called cultural. Cultural is, I think, is most key from a global perspective. You have to see that how you see those countries and how they see you, how that cultural the gap can be bridged. So you should understand how the cultural differences to minimize. For example, even for a meeting, the timing is on sharp. There is no 5 minutes delay. And if you're 5 minutes delay, means you're not there, So there are so many things you need to take care of, how to greet the people. Probably in UAE, we say, Assalamu alaikum. To respond back, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. So this certain things you should understand. So Mr. Arun, can you just give some examples or your thoughts on the cultural barriers that we're going to encounter while working with in overseas scenario?
Sure. So in the UK, there's a huge India diaspora there already. So there's my parents went to the UK in the 1960s, and so you'll meet many Indian people if you go to London, Manchester, Leeds, all of the big cities. Okay, so there's a big influence of Indian people already. However, it's still important to understand that you might think the most popular food dish in India and in the UK would be fish and chips, you may have heard of, but actually the most popular food in the UK is chicken tikka masala. Okay, so these things make a difference. Okay, they understand. Going to the pub is a very common thing. Going for a drink in the pub after work, that's a very important thing. Football the biggest sport in the UK, like cricket here is in India, football, know your Man United, your Man Cities, your Chelsea, these types of things are very, very important because people talk about these types of things. So building that rapport is so important. So I know my team here in India, when they talk to clients in the UK, they're talking about the football match at the weekend, or even the cricket that might have happened. One thing the British love to talk about is the weather. Okay, so most conversations in the UK start with, what's the weather? The weather's not that great today. And in England, it's always raining anyway. Okay, so people love to moan about the rain in England. But it's these little things that make a huge difference culturally, because they then feel like, oh, you understand them. And therefore you they relate to you. And then they think, okay, I like that person. I trust that person. So it's so important. These little things that you think may not be that important are much, much more important than being technically a great accountant. The technical side is a given. They expect you to be a great accountant, but what they really want is to build that relationship so that you can really bond together, and then they'll come back. It's not just a one-time transaction. They come back to you every time that they need your support.
Thank you. Anjani, can you just add on a cultural perspective?
Right. Arun, you covered up everything, but from your perspective, I would say the language. You need to know the local language to get integrated into be part of that cultural. If you don't understand their local culture, you will not be able to integrate yourself. And the best way to integrate is learning the local language. Now, also, as I said, Europe is a member state, 27 member states. If you see from the India's perspective, we have so many states. We have their local languages, right? If a North Indian wants to go and do business in South India, Tamil Nadu, he have to get that language, at least a little bit part of it, into his DNA if he wants to deal locally and work locally, while English and Hindi could be the normal language. This way, Europe's business language is English, but the local language of that country is important. And where you would want to go, as I said, Luxembourg is known for its financial services. So English works. But if there is a significant inclination of a different sector, you need to go to a different country. Like, for an example, for pharmaceutical, if you have to go to Netherlands. If you are into the banking field, you have to go to Germany or France. If you are into the asset management, fund services, investments, come to Luxembourg. If you are into the shipping business, go to the Nordic countries. So, but if you go there, you have to find that local food, as you mentioned, the low and understanding that what it goes around with it, with the sports. Food, sports are the two things which bounds the cultural values together. So choose your destination and then work towards that destination. If you want to go to France, start drinking wine, take your wine lessons, and then enter to the France, so that's what I would say.
Thank you. As far as language is concerned in UAE, Hindi is quite common there because 70% of the companies have chartered accountants. For us, you don't feel you're outside India. We all feel we are there. And Arabic, I'm there for the last 20 years. I could not even learn Arabic because I didn't try it, actually. So it's not a must, but it will really add advantages among the top honors that because they feel comfortable talking in Arabic language. But your English is even good there. So when you look at the client building, you are there to service your client. How you retain your client in each countries, for us, I think the professionalism is most important because, as I said, chartered accountants are working different companies so that we can also entry there. You can get work from the companies. But you read so far the experience is that our chartered accountants show a great professionalism, so they retain the work, they continue the work. So it's more important to keep the client, to keep professionalism, how to interact with the client, this is more important. So the question is to Mr. Arun is, what are the key elements in building strong client relationship across diverse culture, and how you can maintain a personalized approach on a global scale?
Wow, long question there. So how to build strong relationships ultimately, yeah? Correct. So I think we've kind of hinted at this already, but it's the language is a very valid point. It's visiting the country, the people. A common theme in the UK is we do quite a lot of client entertainment. So we might take people to football matches or to the cricket. It forges relationships. It's not about the work. The work is a given. It's about things that happen outside. Okay. Now it's that time where you kind of get to know these people, how they are, and hopefully that you get to like each other. It's not a one-way street, it's two-way, because you might realize, you know what, I don't actually like working with this client. I don't like going out to drinks with this client. They might not be the right fit for you. So it's important to be quite selective as well, who you choose as clients. So it's about slowly building those relationships, and that comes by coming regularly, talking to people regularly, but not just physically, but also on virtual, on Teams, on Zoom. I think that's the thing. It's trust is built by meeting people, talking to people, networking at events like this. Okay, you get to know people. It can't all just be done sitting behind your desk here in India. You need to get out and see people.
You want to add something to this?
Now, Arun just mentioned about networking. Europe is all about relationship. Like they are in a small circles. You have to break into that circle. So if you have, we call it as prestigious clubs, Germans will work with German people, Italians will work with Italians, Spaniards will work with the Spanish people. So every Europe is a free flowing. If you are in one part of the Europe, you could work into the other part of the Europe, but then you find your own partner whom you are working with it because of that intimacy of the same country, same language, because we say the businesses are not happening in the boardrooms. It is happening on the golf clubs, right? And on the golf clubs, you are walking and talking in the local language on the areas of the common interest. So I would say that plays a very vital role on doing businesses in Europe.
Can I just add one more thing? You're absolutely right. Business is done on the golf course, but as an example, in January, I'm going on I ski, but I've learned to ski over the last few years, and I'm going on a ski trip with other potential clients, okay? Because that's where those people hang out. That's where they go. So I've learned to ski and I want to keep up with them. But it's doing things differently. And that's how you build trust. And they'll see that I can ski. You know what? He's a good guy. You drink a bit of wine in the evening, you have dinner and that kind of thing. Oh, you know what? I might give my business to him. It's about doing things differently. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Again, one of the challenge is the talent acquisition and retention. Because if, for example, in UAE, the corporate law is new, to get a talent is very difficult because there was no taxation for a long time. So talent acquisition is different and you are going to expand and you want to need employees there. So which qualification you will accept? Only chartered accountants? Chartered accountant is one of the qualification in the world. So there are few other qualification as well. So you need to see that which qualification is well respected in those countries. And of course, we are well respected, but there are other international market, you have mix of qualifications. So to attract and retain talents, okay? So my question is, how do you attract and retain talents in different parts of the world?
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. I think certainly in the UK, the most common qualification for accountants is the Institute of Chartered Accountants, England and Wales. That's ACA or FCA for fellows, like I am, because I'm older. Also, there's ACCA, which is a common qualification. But I think the key thing to find talent in these countries is, especially in the countries like the UK, US, they have people have choices now. There is a talent shortage in the UK. There's a talent shortage in the US in the accounting sector. So you have to show yourself that you're a good employer. So that could mean that you offer flexibility to your staff. That could mean you're seen as an environmentally friendly, good ESG company, sustainable company to work for. This is particularly amongst the younger crowd. They want to see companies that are doing the right thing. So and therefore the really most important thing, and I think the most important thing in running any business, whether you're running a business here in the UK or in India or anywhere, is that culture that you create in your organization. Because if the culture is and you present that culture in your existing team, your team will shout about it. They'll put it on LinkedIn, they'll put it on Instagram, and people will see, you know what, that's a firm I want to work for because they're a bit different. And a great example, and I know this sounds completely strange, okay, and this is what happens in the UK. On my website, I have pictures of 2 dogs on the website, okay? One dog is my dog, another dog is someone else in my team. And people and staff joined my company because they saw dogs on the website. They thought, oh, they must be really nice people. They must have a really interesting type of organization. And it's these little things it's the culture that makes the difference. And I must stress, in Europe, certainly in the UK and the US, that's the overriding factor. If you're going to get good talent, you want to make sure that you stand out, you do different things. Salary is important, but that's quite far down the pecking order. It's respect, it's teamwork, and it's that kind of, you know what, we're doing something important. We feel part of something. So culture is a really important point here.
So we want to go to Europe, have some dogs with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Anjani, you want to add something to?
Arunji, sorry, but the UK is not Europe anymore. So Brexit, they
Yeah,
thought
absolutely.
about
You're
it.
right.
So,
You're right.
so,
You're right.
so it's an island
Yeah.
now, but for Europe, definitely it's a European continent. You talked about what are the skills that you need to go into your work. I would say it's your various stages of life, in your career. You get an academic qualification, the master's, bachelor's, master's is acceptable in Europe. Then you get a professional qualification. It could be any professional qualification in the area, like whether you are a chartered accountant or whether you want to become a risk professional, whether you want to become a valuation professional. So any dedicated certificated course after your academic curriculum, the professional course works. Then it comes your skill sets. The Europe definitely works on its skill sets, means you need to have what we call it as an like skills of negotiation, the skills of presentation, the skills of hearing, listening. It's like those soft skills, what we say is very important in your learning curriculum as well. And then the last but not the least is the experience. In Europe, if you would want to work, you bring up your experience. Your academic qualification is the past. Your professional qualification is the past. Your skill sets with your experience of your area of expertise becomes your real qualification to do. So if you are a skillful professional, the Europeans love that, like they would want to get you on for their business. They don't go and explore your CVs around it, that how many qualifications do you have, whether you are a CA, CPA, ICAI, nothing, it does not matter. If you have the right skill sets, you have the right experience, you got the work, what it's needed there.
Thank you. I have a few more questions, but I limit by 2 questions so that we can conclude it as soon as possible, because our train is already late. It's about the risk management. To open a business outside, it's very easy, but closing is very difficult. So there are so many complexities, as I mentioned, even to consider while advising clients. What are the risk management they should consider? For example, bankruptcy laws, country to country different. So you need to take care of, understand while closing a company, what are the risk management you should consider operating in a overseas. First, before you start, you should know what is your risk and how we are going to address that risk. The question is, how do you approach risk management when operating in multiple countries? What are strategies?
Sure. Certainly, again, I'm looking at the UK scenario, which I know particularly well. There are risk mitigation strategies that you need to take. So the first thing I would always suggest is you form a separate legal entity, such as a company. You're limited then by your share capital. You might transfer funds here from the UK into that company, and then all transactions happen through that company. That company will also then probably need to have, if you're doing professional services, have some professional indemnity insurance. That's a requirement of any institute-based firm, and that's a very important side of things. Again, one of the things that happens in the UK is you can insure for literally everything. Okay, you have to pay for it, but you can insure for a lot of things. So insurance for employment issues, which I mentioned earlier. In addition, it might get to a point where the business isn't successful. So then how am I going to terminate the employment contracts of people? You then have to make sure you have funds in the company to pay redundancy payments to these people. It's not just a matter of saying I'm closing the company and throw the people out. That won't work, okay? You have an obligation, so you'll have to make sure you abide by redundancy laws to make sure the people are paid. And then at some point, if you do want to close it down, you might take a voluntary liquidation approach to closing the company down. So there's a whole range of things you have to think about, and understand. And as accountants, you're all trained to understand the downside risks that are there, but that shouldn't stop you. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to get across. There's always going to be some risk somewhere, but the opportunities are massive. If you take that step, if you venture out of your comfort zone, which is maybe sitting here in India, but I would strongly suggest you get out of that comfort zone and take that step into Luxembourg, into Europe, into the UK, into the US, because the opportunities are certainly there for those who are brave enough to do it.
Anjani, you want to add something to?
Yep, I think Arunji has covered most of the stuff, but just to add on quickly is doing business is good, but doing business with the right person is very important. Doing a due diligence ahead of the time, doing the research, spending time in your understanding your customer, understanding your client, whether you really want to work with them or not is very important. So your own due diligence needs to be covered up from that perspective, just not looking towards the that, hey, I want to go to Europe, but understanding where and with whom you want to work. But we also say that, before entering into any agreement, always think about how you can exit as well, because relationships could go sour or downwards. Definitely we would want to go north, but if you don't understand what are the various areas, like how you want to divest and come back or exit from the client relationship or any kind of business in the different country, it's very important to know those local regulations, as what Arunji mentioned, the local bankruptcy laws, liquidation laws and things. But find a right partner. You don't have to do everything by yourself. Find a local partner who could guide you, and that comes up with a local relationship. And that's where I would say is due diligence and exit could be the two important aspects before doing any business as such from the European perspective.
Basically, you need, if you want to expand overseas, probably you need a partner there. So you select your partner wisely, and you see that how exit can be easily and can be settled. So selecting partner is very important in your overseas expansion. Last question. Based on your experience, what would be the one piece of advice you would be giving to companies considering to expand globally?
Right, great question. I think my advice would be just do it, as Nike says, okay? You've got to take that step to do it. It might feel uncomfortable. It might feel, oh, I'm not sure whether I should do it. But if you have even a slightest iota of thinking you want to do it, okay, I would strongly suggest that you do it. Okay. Now it won't be a straight path upwards. It'll be a rocky, bumpy ride. Okay. But you will learn through that process. Now, as we mentioned earlier, there are risk mitigation strategies. So you do it step by step. You don't commit too much capital to it. But I would strongly, my advice has always been take that step and take that risk, because the grass could well be greener on the other side. Good luck.
Anjani.
So I would say is always business is not the work what you want to do with overseas. There could be a passion, passion could be travel. You want to visit, go and visit those countries. Luxembourg could be your destination because you can have breakfast, lunch, dinner in 3 different countries as such. So because we are so small, bordered by 3 big economies, Germany, France, Belgium. So come and explore, take that step forward, and I would say is go towards your passion. If providing services is your passion, come and explore Europe. If travel is your passion, go and travel and understand that what Europe has to offer about. And what I would say is, if you would really want to know more about Luxembourg, our website of our CA chapter, ICAILux.lu, is available, and all information there, from getting a qualification, how to do a business, setting up your entity, cultural things, is all available on our CA chapter's website. So please make use of it, and you will find me there. So don't hesitate to reach out. That's what I would say, my last piece of advice.
Can I just add, similarly, there's a lot of information online. So I would strongly, if you're vaguely interested, just message me on LinkedIn. I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. I share a lot of information on LinkedIn on how to do a lot of this stuff that we're talking about today. And then secondly, I would encourage you to go to my website, sameraglobal.com. There's a ton of information and videos and everything of how to do a lot of this stuff we're talking about as well. So please do have a look. Thank you.
My advice to everyone who want to expand to overseas, first thing is to be transparent in your dealings. No jugaad. Even small thing can put you in trouble. A small thing. There is no relaxation for any wrongdoings, no corruptions. It's a little hard to do in a right way, but if you do a small thing, a jugaad, anything, it can be in a big trouble for you. So, and commitment to your client, finish on time. That's it. If you finish on time, your commitment is there, you're transparent. That's it. You need to understand the international culture. So thank you very much. Thank you, Arun and Anjani, for your great insights. Thank you very much.
Thank
you all for
waiting
for us to listen till 6:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As we conclude this enriching session, I extend my heartfelt thanks to powerful moderator, our esteemed panelist, and the engaged audience. A special note of gratitude to our distinguished panelists for sharing their profound insights and expertise. Your contributions have added immense value to the session, creating a reservoir of knowledge for all of us. As a token of our gratitude and a memento to commemorate this session, we would like to present a memento to moderator and panelist with a small keepsake. Requesting CA Dr. Raj Chawla, CCM ICAI, to present memento to CA John George, our eminent moderator. Requesting, sir, to present memento to Mr. Arun Mehra, expert panelist. Requesting Sir to present memento to C. Anjani Ladia, esteemed panelist. May it serve as a lasting reminder of our collective commitment to knowledge sharing and professional growth. As we conclude today's proceedings, I extend my gratitude to each participant, our esteemed speakers, and the engaged audience for contributing to a fruitful and enriching day of discussion. Thank you everyone for joining. Let us call it a day.